Vol View begins right now.
Football time in Tennessee.
Indeed it is. It is once again football time in Tennessee, and it's a good day. It is great to be a Tennessee Vol because Tennessee right now goes from a situation. Coming into the season, I felt like my Vols were slightly underrated, given the situation, the fact that we got a 12-team college football playoff. I had Tennessee in as the 9 seed, I believe, playing a Notre Dame team, which just lost to Northern Illinois. So I would not be mad if we were to potentially get that matchup. But Tennessee goes to the season 15th ranked, smacks Chattanooga 69-3. And then they go into their first ranked matchup of the season in the Dukes Mayo Classic last week in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I'm at this point, I mean, was Tennessee the best team to play in Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte this far this year? I mean, come on. What is up, Carolina Panthers? So go into Charlotte, taking on a ranked NC State team, and you end up whooping them 51-10. Does that work? Does that work for y'all college football prognosticators and experts alike? Because of that fact, Tennessee goes from being the 14th ranked team in the country to the 7th ranked team in the country. And by the way, can I just say this? The fact that the Southeastern Conference, where we all know it just, if I could say it just means more in the SEC. The fact that the SEC has 6 of the top 7 ranked teams in the country. Georgia, number 1. Texas, number 2. Then you got Ohio State out of the Big Ten, number 3. Alabama, 4. Ole Miss, 5. Missouri, 6. And Tennessee at 7. And looking to just keep on moving up. So they got a game this Saturday against Kent State. Now, Kent State's 0-2 coming into this game. Tennessee, and I'm not kidding when I say this, is a 49-point favorite at Neyland Stadium. So, listen, a hefty line to cover. Listen, games like this, I always say, just generally stay away from because you never know if Kent State could score a couple meaningless touchdowns in the last 5 minutes of the game. So you have to factor all those things in consideration. We understand that. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say my Vols win this game. We can go and put up the score right now. We can go and put the score. Give me Tennessee 59-7 over Kent State. They do cover, barely cover, but they cover minus 49. Here's kind of what I'm looking for right now for Tennessee, though, is the fact that so their first, in theory, test, I say that in air quotes like it wasn't a test, but NC State's a solid team that Tennessee just came in and smacked last week, is the fact that, so you win your first ranked matchup of the year. Then you got a game at home. It's at night, so that'll help, but you're playing Kent State, who's 0-2, and there's a reason you're almost a 50-point favorite against this team. Could this be a dangerous spot for Tennessee? Maybe not necessarily to lose to Kent State, certainly, but to slip up a little bit. To be a little undisciplined, too many penalties, maybe an unnecessary turnover, missed field goal, those type of situations, sloppy football, because they got a massive matchup. I think it's a game that could end up being their biggest or second biggest win of the season at Oklahoma. Obviously, Josh Heupel, Heisman Trophy candidate for the Oklahoma Sooners, played there, was very successful there, now the head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers. So there's a revenge factor there, coming home, coming to your alma mater, and beating your old school, beating the Oklahoma Sooners. We understand all those factors come into consideration with Josh Heupel and with the Tennessee Volunteers. So in this matchup against Kent State, all of those things considered, I think Tennessee's going to show up. I think the momentum of being 14th ranked in the country and shooting up significantly all the way up to number 7. You're not in the top 10. You're comfortably in the top 10 teams in America. The fact that Nico I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. Iamaleava. Nico Iamaleava How about this? 16 for 23, 211 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground, by the way, in which he had, do we have this here, 65 yards rushing, so nearly 300 yards total for Nico. He did have 2 interceptions. You want to kind of clean that up. But running the football, Tennessee, and I've said this over and over, and Vol fans know this, but as flashy as Josh Heupel's offense can be, with the screens, with the spread offense, being able to use motion, a lot of screen passes, shots over the middle of the field to guys like Brew McCoy and others, is the fact that Tennessee's offense is set up primarily by the run game, by Dylan Sampson, who had the game of his life on Saturday, 20 carries, a $132, and 2 touchdowns. So listen, this was a game where Tennessee made a statement, showed up, showed out against a solid NC State team, albeit from the ACC, the weakest Power 4 conference. We understand that, but it's kind of like a home game, pseudo home game for NC State. You go in, you get the pick 6 from, I believe it was Will Brooks, the walk-on, got the pick 6 against Grayson McCall last week. It was a beautiful sight to see for Tennessee. It was a beautiful game to watch in terms of their national championship contending ability. Listen, Kent State is a team that's not going to match up terribly well against Tennessee, as to be expected. I do think Tennessee covers. Put that score back up there one more time. 59-7, Tennessee wins this game. What I'm going to be looking for is a hot start for Tennessee. A situation where mid-third quarter, who knows, maybe early third quarter, Nico Iamaleava is nowhere in sight. I can't find him. He's somewhere on the sideline, just chilling. Maybe, a lot of football players like to eat bananas on the sideline just to, be able to, get fed during the game. They're done playing football and be able to get some action from the backup in this game against Kent State. So I think Tennessee's going to win this one 59-7. And again, it's sort of we saw what happened in Notre Dame last week against Northern Illinois, who's in the top 25. Congrats to those guys. But not looking ahead to Oklahoma, taking care of the here and now, being present, as Dak Prescott would say, being present, being in the moment, winning this game against Kent State, which I think Tennessee will do. So shorter edition of the Vol View, we understand that, but it is Kent State. We'll have a longer edition next week against the Oklahoma Sooners. But for now, Tennessee will win this one 59-7, improve to 3-0. Who knows? Maybe if there's some movement, maybe if a Wisconsin shocks Alabama, you never know. I mean, I'm picking Alabama, but you never know. It's in Madison. There's a chance the Badgers beat Alabama. Not saying they will, but, if that happens, Tennessee can move up in the rankings is what I'm trying to say. So that is it for this week's edition of the Vol View. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.